new cabinet ministers among a new list of senior lawyers approved by the Prime Minister. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, April the 11th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Minister of Transport and Works Michael Lashley and Minister of Youth and Sports Stephen Lashley are among more than a dozen new Queen's Counsel approved by the Prime Minister Frandil Stewart. Other notable names appearing on the list just out are Supreme Court Registrar Barbara Cook-Alleyne, Attorney for the Clico Judicial Manager Ramon Alleyne, Alric Scott, who has acted as a judge, and Monique Tate. The new senior lawyers also include Emerson Graham, Junior Alsop, Philip Pilgrim, Andrew Thornhill, Don Shields-Searle, Larry Smith, Fiona Hines, Adrian King, Tony Ordain, and Rosalind Smith-Miller. The Barbados Water Authority has warned its employees and their bargaining agent, the Barbados Workers Union, that it won't tolerate any future behavior similar to what the staff exhibited on Monday. In a letter dated April 10, 2018, and addressed to the Union General Secretary Tony Moore, BWA General Manager Keith Roy Halliday charged his workers with calling a meeting outside the Pine headquarters without his prior knowledge and in contravention of protocol. The workers were off the job for much of the day on Monday, demanding that Halliday meet with them to update them on outstanding payments due. But he said while every effort has been made and would continue to be made to meet with staff to share information, he had no intention of being drawn into a potentially adversarial meeting. He advised the union he would not allow such behavior to continue. And with elections just over 2 months away, yet another state-run agency is dismissing reports of a major hiring drive in almost identical denial to one made by the head of the National Conservation Commission, Keith Neblett, last week. Halliday said the BWA has only been filling posts that have become vacant. Yesterday, Halliday categorically denied that new positions have been created in the recent months leading up to the January election.
We have had a number of departments that we have developed, NRW, legal and compliance, and a number of those departments that have needs that we need to fill. These were not positions that were just created last week. These are positions that were established well over a year in some instances, or several months ago, that we have now moved to actually try to fill because they're considered to be critical to the nature of the Barbados Water Authority. So for instance, if you look at the legal and compliance department, we do have a lot of issues that are legally based, and we need to make sure that we have a department set up like that to be able to deal with a number of matters internally. If you look at our leakages and our constant bursts, we have to develop our NRW, which is non-revenue water department. If you look at the water issues, the potable water issues, we've had to expand our hydrology and water quality department, and we're trying to fill those as well. Apart from that, we've done a number of interviews because we've done some restructuring. Our restructuring process didn't start last week. It started 2 years ago, and then more in earnest a year ago, and he also included me as part of that restructuring process.
Meanwhile, more than a dozen posts are to be made redundant at the Nation Publishing Company effective May 31st as it proceeds with previously announced staff cuts. Yesterday, the company began the process of informing the affected workers of their pending terminations after officially informing the workers' representative of its plans on Monday. In a letter to the Barbados Workers Union, the company blamed the highly competitive and rapidly changing print media environment for the layoffs. It also said that as a result of challenges posed by the various social media platforms and as a consequence of dwindling newspaper revenues over the past 10 years, it was forced to make 13 positions within the bargaining unit redundant. However, Barbados Today understands that as many as 30 workers could be affected by the job cuts, which also affect non-unionized members of staff, including senior managers. Now, the cuts also extend to the nation's sister radio station, Starcom Network, in keeping with the announcement made last month by the group's Chief Executive Officer, Anthony Shaw.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Guyana's Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams says since his administration took office, corruption in government offices has reduced. His comments come in the wake of a 2016 U.S. State Department report which stated differently. Javon Vickery reports.
Attorney General Basil Williams on Monday claimed that there are far less corrupt practices within government offices under the current regime. The 2016 U.S. State Department report stated that, quote, there were isolated reports of government corruption during the year, and the administration officials responded to the reports. There remained a widespread public perception of corruption involving officials at all levels, including police and the judiciary, end of quote. Attorney General Williams further noted that the forensic audits done after the government took office led to significant seizure of assets and the arrest of notable public figures.
From the outset of our government, we declared war against corruption in all its forms. And financial crimes were added to the remit of SOCO, whose primary responsibility is combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and now proliferation financing.
And on the global front, Panama says it will ban several Venezuelan airlines from working in the country for at least 90 days. This is the latest twist in a dispute that began when Venezuelan officials were put on a high-risk money laundering list. The suspension of Venezuela's major carriers in a regional hub further isolates the crisis-hit country after most international airlines pulled out, citing economic and security concerns. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.